Ryan here with E39 Source, yet again on the 2006 E60 BMW M5 today. Kind of a quick one, kind of an easy one. Front stabilizer links. These are actually original, believe it or not, on a 2006 with 100,800 and change miles. And your front links connect your wheel carrier to your front sway bar. Now you've got rear links too. They're also original, but they seem to be in okay shape for now. The boots don't show any cracking or bleeding of grease, so we're not going to be working with those today. Just a quick easy DIY on the front ones. So I've got the benefit of a lift. Should you not, that's fine. Use your front jack point to get the front end of the car off the ground. Your front jack point is this black plastic block down here on the front subframe. So lift that with a jack. I would put a piece of wood in there. And then use your front lift points, as denoted by the little triangle on the rocker, to safely support the vehicle. Obviously make sure you're in first gear or park, or whatever the SMG calls first gear, I guess first gear, with the parking brake on. Be sure to check the description below to see a product link and part number for this part from ECS Tuning that seamlessly fits up inside of your BMW's jack pad adapter to work on a lift, jack stands, or hydraulic jack. Now, we've got way more off the car right now than needs to be off the car. The front bumper's being repainted, the headlights are out, the fender liner's being replaced because it was damaged. None of that needs to happen for this DIY. The only thing that you do need to do is remove your front wheel. Before you lift the car, break free the 17mm lug bolts and remove the front wheels and set them somewhere safe. It may also help to have a key in the car so you can unlock the steering wheel, so you can move this front axle back and forth just to get yourself some additional room in there. But before we really dig in, I'll show you the parts, get you some part numbers, then we'll get to it. So all we're tackling right now are these. Lemforder is the original supplier for BMW. You can buy the genuine BMW parts if you wish. I do not believe that they will come with the locking nuts like the Lemforders do, and you'll pay more for a part with no greater quality. So I don't recommend that. The factory part number on these is the cross number there. It's 313067815547, and then the opposite side is 548. Same number, just the last three change. So there is a front right and a front left specific. So one of each of those. I will include the part number for the nuts. Should you source the links from somewhere else, you can buy the nuts separately. I had them separately just in case. The BMW ones are a little bit different than what Lemforder gave me, so I'm not sure which I'll use. The BMW ones have this little sliding washer on there, and the Lemforder ones, they do too, but it's a different look. So we'll just see what comes off the car. I'll put on whatever most resembles what's on there. Now you can easily give new and of course old parts an inspection by taking a look at the bushing here. This is the part that holds the grease in there as the ball joint is articulated. If you see any sort of cracking in this rubber here, anywhere around, if you see that it's separated down here where that green clip is, or up top where the blue one is, if it's torn open or there's grease anywhere on the outside of it, or if there's grease all over the whole thing, that means it's shot and it needs to be replaced. So these are the new ones. Of course they look great, but always do inspect your new ones in case it was damaged during shipping. And upon closer inspection here, these new ones have kind of a chamfered edge up top, and then it's got the splines around this washer down here. So there is a very specific way that they are to be installed. So take care when you remove your old ones and make sure that you put the correct one in the correct orientation. And we can also see that it's going to be a Torx counterhold. The nut that threads on the end of here, obviously these new parts will be very easy, but the old ones are probably a little rusty or a little crusty from being on the car for a while. And if you take a wrench to that, it's just going to spin the entire ball joint. So you'll need to put whatever size that is. We'll find out shortly. It looks like a T30. Torx in there, counterhold it, and then an open wrench on the side to take the nut off. So this works fairly easily. We've got a T30 3/8 drive socket in a 3/8 drive, about a 12-inch breaker bar, and then an open-ended wrench. That's a 16mm on the nut. So we're going to hold the T30, and if you've got a ratcheting one, this will go a lot faster. In fact, I probably do. I'm about to swap that out for a ratcheting wrench, and we'll just spin it off. On the far left is the nut that I just removed. On the center is the nut that came with the Lemforder part, and on the right is the BMW nut per real OEM. So that's the one that I'm going to reuse, seeing that that's what came off the car. There's nothing wrong with the Lemforder bolt. I've used plenty of those on my E39, but on the E60, looks like BMW likes the fancy one with the built-in little spinny collar washer. The ratcheting wrench was definitely a help. I did put an impact gun on this just to break it free. So that's why it tore the boot open, because it grabbed onto the whole thing and busted it, but I don't care because this one's about to be replaced. And as we push it out there, we kind of see hiding in the shadows that little collar that I pointed to before. So that is going to be the top. Will have the sleeve on it. Passenger side's the exact same deal. Counterhold with the T30, 16mm nut. Take it off the bottom. The link comes out, and then you just replace it. It's a little bit easier to work down here. You have less suspension components in the way. So you can just lay or stand or crouch or however you have your car set up under the car and work on it that way. This is your front anti-roll bar. So I'm gonna look up a torque spec for these nuts. I just went down fairly tight, just kind of finger tight with a wrench. Now I'll look up the torque spec. We'll put a socket on a torque wrench and do it that way, and that should snug down without the need for counter holding or spinning the ball joint. Okay, torque spec, call it 65 Newton meters or 48 foot-pounds. I used a 1/2-inch drive torque wrench and then a 1/2-inch drive deep well 6-point 16mm socket, and that worked flawlessly both up here. Since I had them snug when I put them in with the wrench and the counter hold, it was only maybe a quarter turn until my torque wrench gave a nice click. And same thing, it's a little bit easier underneath just because there's more room, less suspension in the way. 48 pounds on all of them. Get them to click and you are done. Fresh stabilizer links have been installed. Thanks for watching this one. We'll talk in the next E39 Source video.